Well, we're joined today again um, by Chris Kehler, chriskehler.net. Welcome, Chris. It's great to be able to talk with you again.
Wonderful to be back. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks. Just to anybody that's watching and not familiar with Chris, Chris has developed a healing modality that has been self-described as quantum healing. I believe is how you consider that. And it's a dowsing technique that implies the principles of muscle testing in a nutshell. There's much more to it than that, I would say, but that addresses quantum entanglements. We got past life, parallel lives, this life, and those entanglements can present themselves discordantly with health issues or relationship issues, prosperity issues, all the dealings we have in this world, in this body. And so he gets some cool messages going with this technique that you developed. When did you start developing this, Chris?
I started learning about all this stuff about 11 years or so ago. And then it all started developing, shortly after that when I took a dowsing course, which is very much like what I'm doing right now from the Radionic and Dowsing Institute of Canada. I don't know if they're still around or not, but I took that, and then I had another course that I took with my radionics. I took all the good parts of all these different courses that I found and started developing my own way of doing things. The basis of what I'm doing, now let's backtrack a second. When anybody's dowsing with a pendulum, the best way to describe it is not dowsing, but dowsing, because everybody gets an answer, and the big thing is, well, is it the right answer? Start doubting themselves. So what I did is I developed a system that you can confirm the answer. You can ask a question in different ways. Use the chart system that I developed. It's called True Quantum Healing. So you can use the chart system to confirm your answers, to validate the answers, and to get other confirmation. So you can ask a question a couple different ways, and if you get an answer, two different answers, but they're confirming answers, you know that you're on the right track, and then you can proceed with the system and do the clearings and find the right answers and help people.
Fantastic. And I think one thing I wanted to throw in there too, Chris, is that you're getting results.
Absolutely. That's the wonderful part about this is that, using the chart system and getting interesting findings, we actually are getting results and on a day-to-day basis. I do this for a living. I'm in an office, holistic healthcare office in Winnipeg, Canada. I have clients from all over the world, literally, because we can do this work on Skype and on the telephone. So it's just energy. So we're moving energy. And it doesn't matter where you are in the universe, we can move that energy, okay? So the results we're getting are really astounding. And the more we find, the more answers we get, the more questions we ask, the deeper we get into, what's causing your health problem. And this is, basically going to the level of, let's say you have ALS, you have elemental P, you have whatever disease, whatever illness. Everybody's going to have it for a different reason. Okay, not one bullet is good for everybody. You need to develop a system that's going to find the problem within you, not the many of you that have the same type of symptoms. Everybody can have same symptoms for different reasons. And that's what this system does, is it dials in exactly to what is going on. And it gets very deep. Today I worked with somebody who had concerns about the fat levels in their body. They have trouble losing weight, and they have concerns with the fat levels. So they're doing research on the internet about the DNA and all these different genomes and different things that could cause your body to store fat instead of burn it, So I took that concern of the person and developed through the chart system. It told me to look within the cells of the thymus gland into the soft endoplasmatic reticulum which have connections with the lipids within our body, the fat within our body. So what I found was that the polarity was reversed. So I made the intent to correct the polarity within that reticulum of those cells, and now her body should start to process fat in a lot more appropriate manner. So we get into those very deep levels of the DNA, the cells, and all of the components that are supposed to work in harmony together, and find all of the different things that are going on. Now, the reason why, and you got to go deeper, the reason why this person's endoplasmatic reticulum, the polarity was reversed, is because of a water stream under her apartment creating geopathic stresses, affecting her electromagnetic field in her body, causing the reverse polarity. So that's how deep this gets. Okay, if you want to use it to its full extent, there it is. And all you got to do is ask a question and understand what's going on. So it tells me something, I might research it quickly on the internet, look at Wikipedia, and see what that area of the body does, what it looks like, get an image of it, and start asking questions, and then make the changes so that all of a sudden your body works properly.
So, I was just real quick. So, does this person need to move?
No. What we did is I got the address of her apartment block, and I neutralized the geopathic stresses. All you do is make the intent to neutralize them so that they don't rise up anymore. They just stay dormant. They're inert. Okay, and it had a lot to do with the water vein. Also, her longitudinal numbers were such that it was also causing a problem. So we had to make those numbers inert under her building. Wow,
results. Because we are a results-oriented talk show. So that's fitting in perfect here.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. Otherwise, we can't get out of our jammies in the morning. Well, for you, Chris, when you talk about, dowsing and the questions that you have to ask, you have to have a very powerful intuition when you do this kind of work, because you have to listen to, it's like, people when they go to the doctors, it's like, they don't know anything. They don't follow their intuition. So they don't even know what kind of questions to ask their doctors. So you really got to be plugged in, just to know which questions to ask or where to go when you're dowsing. And
what I've done is I've taken care of that. The system, True Quantum Healing, covers all of that. So, of course, you need a starting point. So the starting point is going to be the focus. What is your issues that you need to work on today? You're going to give me a small list of issues, maybe a brief history. And, oh, yeah, my father beat me a lot when I was young. Okay, very important to know. So we take all this information, anything that's in your early childhood, anything in your past, bad relationships, bad luck, family things that the problem happens with, whatever. We take all that information, create a focus. And then I will start what's called a pre-clearing, which is getting rid of all of that nasty negative energy, the reptilian stuff, the sacrificial ritual altar stuff, anything that's involved with jinn, the manifestations of all of these bad energies within our plasma field and those types of things. So we do the pre-clearings, which bring us into the physical problems and so forth. Now, of course, to ask the right question, I have a chart that has a series of questions. So I'll ask what question is optimal to ask for this person. And then it'll, tell me where is the highest level of congestion, the most resistance, the most damage, whatever. And you ask the right question, you get the right answer. So we have a chart with questions to ask. And then you take that question, apply it to the master chart. Where is the lowest level of vitality in this person's body? It'll tell you. And then you ask the stressor charts, what is causing low levels of vitality? And it takes you there. And then you use the sacred geometry, your will and your intent to neutralize that stressor out of that area that you found. So it's a systematic boom, boom, boom type of modality that is actually quite simple to use once you start to understand it. And if I can understand it, heck, I think anybody can. I know I developed it, but I made it so that you don't need to be a rocket surgeon in order to really dial it down. I'm no medical intuitive. I'm no doctor, you know, with experience going to medical school or nothing like that. But as you do this, you'll learn. Okay, and you also learn what the medical system doesn't know, and that certain things about the body that they can't know, and that only the universe would have an answer for. So it takes you through the whole gamut. It takes all of the hard work out of it. Now, the best thing about it is I made it so simple that when you find a stressor in your body, let's say you have shingles within your skin. So you're going to say skin, the area that you need to target, and then the stressor, shingles, and then you say the word false. That's all you got to do. When you say the word false, it doesn't exist anymore. It cancels the frequency. So now let's say you've removed that frequency. Now you want to raise the vibration of the skin because it's been sick and it's had this problem. You say skin, true. You say the word true, and it raises it up to its normal vibration and realigns it with your body, with your energy, so that it is now in your control. Okay, so the words true and false are all you really need to know. In some instances, if you're going to remove a curse, you want to use the command lift the curse. And then with that also, I have a list of commands that you can find and use that might be appropriate for whatever situation you're working with.
That's awesome.
It's
Go ahead, Denise.
Go ahead.
No, you, please.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you brought up shingles, because we've both had shingles, and I know you mentioned that in your video today when you were talking about removing the reptilian, you know, from the human host. And you know, and I was talking to Zaka earlier, and it's like, you know, when I had it all across my back and it went around in the front, and I felt like it was a reptilian skin so you know, it's almost like, is that reptilian DNA coming out in the person, or you know, what is that association there?
Well, shingles, what I found, it's the medical system calls it herpes zoster. It's a herpes form of virus. What I have found, what I've been told, working with source through my literature, is that shingles is a reptilian virus. Okay, so the reptilians are huge amongst humanity. Okay, Earth is basically a reptilian planet. We are here by their graces, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of different scenarios that I use, but of course the reptilians are trying to keep our energy low so that the ascension process doesn't take us and rise us into higher levels of vibration and knowledge. Okay, they don't want that to happen. When that happens, their food source is gone, their entertainment is gone, their experimentation mice are gone. So they bestow upon us all these different things, viruses, illnesses, curses, to keep our vibration down, to distract us from seeing the big picture, the awareness around us. So shingles is very much a reptilian virus, and the medical system will not really recognize it until they see the full-blown shingles on the skin. Okay, whereas I find it in different areas of the body. If it's on the skin, it's coming out. So if you look inside the body, so I ask what area of the body has shingles, and quite often it's going to be in the nervous system. It's going to be anywhere where you have a lot of pain, a lot of heat, a lot of discomfort of that nature. So I find it very deep within the body before it gets to the skin level. And I've seen it on the skin, and boy, it ain't nice. It can almost be considered a form of poison ivy. Poison ivy could be a form of shingles, okay? All these different things that cause us problems are there for a reason, okay? So you know, you really have to consider the source of all of these illnesses and to what they are. Once you can understand exactly where they come from, why they're here, you can work with them a lot easier. And you know, once you understand more, you can work with it more it's basically gone once you discover it.
Yeah, that's far out. It's funny you mentioned we're entertainment. We had a discussion about that the other day, Denise and I. It was like, are we really just entertainment? But, and it's also,
really, you have to consider the big question would be is why are we here? What's our purpose? Are we here just to wake up in the morning and go to school and then find a job and go to work? Basically, one of the scenarios that I work with is that at one time, most of humanity was a reptilian. And then when we died on the reptilian homeworld, reptilia, whatever it is, I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios with that, we had an opportunity to reincarnate on Earth as a human to participate in the ascension process. Okay, so that the big reason why we're here, we are the sixth seeding of humanity. There's been many different other seedings of humanity, but this specific one is here to participate in the ascension, which is happening as we speak for the most part. We've gone through a lot of different energy shifts, and anybody who's sensitive in energy can feel the shifting happening. Know that, whoa, you feel like you're moving through time a little bit. It's like, whoa, what was that? You feel a little dizzy, you feel a little nauseous for no reason, and it passes quickly. Those are all signs of a rise in vibration. So entertainment, more so for the gods, okay? Those demigods that like to create scenarios and see what happens. I mean, let's as above, so below. We have scientists who put mice in a cage in a maze to see what happens, see what they do. So the reptilians will say, let's start a war and see what they do with it. Okay, see what happens, see how they deal with it. So entertainment, absolutely. There's other beings here other than the reptilians too. There's a few others, but the reptilians are the main ones. So entertainment, we have an energy that we can produce called loosh. Okay, and that's what the reptilians feed off of. That's their food source is loosh. So once they
spell that?
What's that?
Do you have a spelling for that?
Loosh.
Loosh.
Loosh. So when they create fear, anxiety, depression, emotions like hate, that creates that energy. So the more that they can create, the bigger the feast.
So that is accurate that they do. That is their sustenance.
Exactly. A lot of people who it's like the angrier you get, the more angry you get. It's just like some people just can't stop getting angry. Some people can't stop, with these emotions that are brought up in order to create this sustenance for them. Some people ask me how come I don't get attacked by them. It's because I don't create that energy. I don't get mad. I don't, exhibit these signs, these things that the reptilians love. I just stay nice and calm, water off a duck's back. The only thing that gets me going is my kids. Sometimes they'll get you going a bit, but that passes very quickly, and I don't harbor a lot of ill will or ill intent or animosities and that type of thing towards people. I have a couple, maybe a little bit, but that's no big deal. For the most part, if you live your lifestyle and keep a nice, calm, peace, and love about yourself, these reptilians are basically going to leave you alone.
Mm-hmm. Acceptance can have a play in that too. Accepting things the way they are.
Oh, absolutely.
Can bring you that peace too. If things are discordant, like you said, there is those entanglements that we have with people and stuff, but it is the way it is, and can choose to keep that drama,
that's correct.
Watched.
The big, I've actually had people in my life that are extremely negative, and they would, create emotions within me that I didn't like. So I said to them, goodbye. You no longer are good for me. You're no longer good for my family. People I've known for 30, 40 years. I've just said, goodbye, we're done.
Right.
I can't have this negative energy in my life.
Right. With compassion, that can be all done with compassionate intent. That's right. It's just that, I can't, or I choose to not entangle that way.
That's exactly it.
Right.
Yeah, we used to call it bless them and release them.
Bless them and release them.
Yep. Even some family members, man, you just gotta bless them and you gotta release them.
Family, I find, is probably one of the worst, because there's always somebody in a family who's going to be jealous. Jealousy is a big emotion that sparks loose. Okay, so there's a lot of family members who may be jealous that somebody's having a baby because they're getting attention. Somebody who's successful in the family where somebody isn't. That person will be talking behind that person's back, and so and so thinks he's so good because he can fly a rocket ship, whatever. The jealousy in itself can be a big problem. It can create different types of curses, and it'll roll out negative energy towards a person, and then it can start to cause many different disorders and health issues.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot to talk about right there. Everything you say, it's like 10 questions. Everybody's
listening going, I know what he's talking about. I knew who it is in his family.
So, you've mentioned here now a few times the reptilian DNA and reptilian and how it is what it is. We are part of their universe, whatever that is. But is all reptilian negative? Like I saw some stuff like saurian. There's called the reptilian hybrid housewife. Have you seen her on YouTube and stuff?
Well, you know what? I have a hard time with that one.
But anyway, she says saurian versus alpha, that there's different factions of reptilian. I'm just curious what your take on that is.
What I go with, okay, and now there's a lot. You listen to David Icke, David Wilcock, Corey Good, there's a lot of people, Simon Parks, who talks a lot about this stuff. And they all have a lot of good information. And there's a lot of people who are jumping on the bandwagon. Okay, there's a lot of people paying attention to this. Let's jump on that bandwagon. Maybe we can get some attention, make some money, who knows? Okay, so what I work with is basically what's brought to me through my dowsing system. When I'm using my letter chart A to Z, it spells things out for me. It brings me what I need to know. So this reptilian housewife may be 100% legit. I don't know. I don't care. It's not what I need to know at this time. What I need to know is about if I'm working with you. I just get what I need to know. I don't fall into the whole concept of all these different belief systems. Because everybody who talks about this, everybody who has knowledge about the reptilians, all talk differently, all have a different story, all have, there is a lot of similarities here and there, but for the most part, everything is different. And that goes with anything about the universe. You can listen to Yellow Rose for Texas on YouTube. You can then listen to Ogtellas, and they all got different scenarios. And so do I. Okay? And why is that? Don't exactly know, but ultimately that there is different opinions about the whole concept. Where my opinions differ is that there's proof in the pudding. When I work with this energy, remove it, you feel better. Okay, so the whole scenario of good reptilians, bad reptilians, possibly. I don't rule anything out, but I don't really consider it unless it's brought to me, forward through my charts.
But that's a powerful approach. I like that, dealing on the individual clientele level, that you just what is presented and address that.
That's right.
And it keeps all those other dramas out of the picture. You really focus and hone that. I like that.
Yeah, that's where you have to look at things. If you put everybody in that one pigeonhole, then you're really not addressing the problem. There's one person I do work with on a humanity level. Once a week we do clearings just to is to get the ball rolling for things. A lot of people have heard me talk about Susie. She's in Germany. And whenever we work, I've found that we're bringing in so much information that's needed. She is a conduit for source, so it brings me a lot of things I need to know. And we find things out, and then we make the intent to clear humanity of it. And if it affects you and not you, whatever, as long as we make that intent and get the ball rolling with it, then we can, get started working individually with it. But that's, otherwise it's basically one-on-one all the time. A lot of people ask me how, why I don't do group healings and group settings, because if I run energy into a whole crowd of people, it could affect somebody in a negative way. It could poke the bear, I call it. If something is in there that we need to go much deeper with, it may uncover a wasp nest or something that all of a sudden this person is now is in distress. So I like to keep it one-on-one, nice and private, tell a joke or two, get some clearing done, and then move on to the next person.
Well, that is sort of a form of black magic when you send out healing to the whole world, because not everybody is here with the same intent.
That's correct. So when we're doing the humanity clearings, we're not sending it to a group specific. We're just making the intent that if that energy is present and it's causing problems, then we'll get rid of it. So, instead of having 50 people in front of me and doing a mass clearing, no, I won't do that, because that could incite. When you're working with somebody, you're basically opening them up. And if somebody in that group has got some ill intent, boom, now they can start infecting people also. Okay, that's something you really have to consider. I work with a lot of people who do group settings, who will participate, help out in group settings, and they come to me and they're sick. They're just blasted. And it's because there's somebody in that group that says, okay, we're going to sit here and wait till people open up, and then we're going to throw some negative curveballs at them.
I think that's valuable information. Denise, that was a great question. And Chris, that, right, it's like group meditations. What's your take on, is that similar take on that, Chris?
Absolutely. And I do have clients who do lots of people do group meditation. And the same thing. And I tell people, you know what? Go into these meditations protected in certain ways. I mean, you trust everybody, but not everybody knows what type of negative energy they have attached to them. You think you could be the clearest person in the world, but you're still going to have something that's going to use you as a conduit to infect other people.
Well, and you're also dealing with parallel fractions of your soul. Okay, you might be really good in the third dimension in this present time, but you might have a part of yourself in another dimension that isn't so good. So some of that, I'm just wondering if some of that could bleed through.
Oh, absolutely. We're quantum entangling with many different things. We live in a parallel universe. There's 7 Earths. We are number 2. Number 6 is really bad shape. A lot of bad stuff going on in number 6. So I'm always disconnecting people from parallel 6. If you're really, because of quantum entanglement, that means if your energy is here and here, if somebody here smacks you in the back of the head with a 2x4, you get a headache here. Okay? That's the best way to describe it. So on parallel 6, if there's death and destruction happening everywhere, well, you're going to be in that realm of energy. You're going to have symptoms according to what's going on there. So for many people, I just disconnect from parallel 6. It is a disaster over there.
What kind of things are happening? Is like
a lot of hybrids. A lot of hybridization is going on. Reptilians and human hybridization. A lot of wars. A lot of destruction is going on in many different ways. A lot of low-level energies for sure. So also when we astral travel, when we're sleeping and you get this very vivid dream, it's not a dream, you're astral traveling, you're going somewhere else and experiencing something. And many people, let's go to number 6 and see what's going on over there. And you come back with, all these different problems attached to you. Sometimes that astral body gets stuck and it doesn't know the way out. So then we have to go in and retrieve it, help it back, and then clean it up. Many times in that astral body, it might synthesize a duplicate of a body part and then cause it a matter-antimatter equation where antimatter and matter in the same area will obliterate itself. So then your body will start to decompose, your DNA will break down, your organs won't work so well. So you need to get rid of the duplicates that were created. A lot of different things like that from astral traveling. So what I do is if somebody is astral traveling, I put a moratorium on it. Just make the statement, astral body, moratorium on astral traveling, true. You can no longer astral travel.
You know, somebody was saying once about past lives and stuff, and how they don't really know if we're patching into a past life or if we're just patching into the collective consciousness that, that's happening. Past, present, and future is always happening at the same time. If we're just connecting into all of that, or if we're really connecting into a past life. So I'm just wondering if any of that comes up in your work, with like maybe somebody does have some past life things.
The poor past lives take the brunt for everything. That's probably one of the biggest questions I get is it a past life? Because everybody wants it to be very, exciting and what are you going to tell me? It's like going to a psychic. You want to hear you don't care what he's going to say. You just want to hear something interesting.
Yeah.
So what I do, I don't address it as a past life. I address it as a creation. And for most people, what I find is that in their first creation as a human, so your soul, before your first creation, may have been a speck of light on planet Sirius or whatever. It may have been something else. So it may have been a reptilian. So now your first incarnation, whatever happens there to you, let's say you get hung for being a horse thief or something. So now in following creations, you may have neck and throat problems. Okay, so that energy is going to stay with you, and that's the same as a past life scenario. A lot of people talk about it. So what I do is I go back to first creation, and I've always addressed it as a past life, but no, if you address it as a creation, especially first creation, that seems to be the significant one. You remove that stressor from first creation, say first creation true. Now through the butterfly effect, all that cancels out through all of your next creations. And now you can see the problem for what it is in this creation. So it does have a very big effect. It is significant in the a lot of people call it karma, whatever. All that stuff that happened to you in the past, you need to know about it so you can knock it out and then go to the next level of healing.
I find that so valuable information. I've had personal, individual validation of how a traumatic, say, or something that happened in one of these other creations manifests as a physical body symptom or ailment, like a lower back. For me, a lower back I had, I have not resolved the whole thing, but it had something to do with entangling with other interests that I have tried to sever myself from in this lifetime and stuff. So that I think that's great that you bring those things up, Chris, because I just from my own lifetime this time around have found firsthand that is valid. When you talk about like a throat problem or a lung problem, it correlates back to some presentation, some interaction of the quanta at one point or another, at one creational stage or another. And we carry that with us, and then that comes out as physical ailments or
it is something that needs to be considered, and when you're doing this work in this quanta, as you call it, I like that. You have to consider so many different things. Your creations, your dharma, your whatever. And there's so many things. And again, it's different with everyone. I don't go to the first creation with everyone because maybe they had a perfect one. Who knows? But ultimately, all of these things have to be considered. And even when you're going into the here and now physical types of things, you look for different stressors. Food dyes are a very big problem because it's all chemical. You have to go to all those levels: the energetic stuff, the first creation stuff, the reptilian stuff, sacrificial rituals, and all of that culminates into that etheric energy problem. Knock that out, and boy, here comes all the good stuff, all the real-time stuff. Knock the nightshades out of your diet, things will get better. Okay, all that stuff, the chemtrails, all of that now stuff is a big deal. So a lot of the genetically modified DNA within soy, within corn, within all the products that we consume on a daily basis now starts to be a problem. You start to realize that's what it is. So all that energy stuff, boy, it can pile up and pile up and pile up, and it could be like, pulling layers off an onion that's 20,000 pounds big until you get to that core problem. Some people's onions are a little smaller, some people's onions are a little bigger. Okay, so that's what it takes to get to that real core problem is what's causing an issue. Now, the big question is, let's use this as an example. If vaccinations cause autism, how come I don't have autism? How come you don't have autism? I'm sure you got vaccinated as a kid.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How come you don't have autism? Yeah, I got the same mark. Yeah. Track that doctor who put that mark.
Right.
So you have to now go back to that energy problem, that entity, that reptilian, that consciousness. Could be jinn. Okay, jinn in Arabic means genie. It's a consciousness that can take something and make something of it. So whatever it is that wants to keep your vibration down, they're finding a weakness within your body and holding it against you. So, okay, all right, so they just vaccinated that kid, and that kid has some secrets that kid took from when it was an incarnation with the reptilians, and we don't want humanity to find it out. So let's take those vaccinations and cause a problem within that person so that they can't use those secrets against us.
Hmm.
So that's really where you have to go with it, is the root physical problem, the real here and now problem, is only affects certain people because something or somebody wants it to.
Yeah. Yeah, that just really rings true to me. I find a lot of value to that. You're talking.
If you look back, in the 60s when I was vaccinated, back then they didn't have glyphosate yet. Nowadays they put glyphosate within the vaccination. So if you look at all these kids with peanut allergies, when I went to school, nobody had a peanut allergy. Come on. Everybody ate peanuts, no big deal. Everybody had peanut butter. If you didn't have peanut butter, you looked at it like, okay, we're going to take you to the schoolyard and beat you up if you don't like peanut butter. Nowadays, kids will die if they eat peanut butter.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's all the vaccinations that are given to you with that glyphosate with it.
Yeah, we were talking off camera, Denise and I, a little before we joined up with you, Chris, and we were talking now through my investigation that a lot of the problems, if not all of the problems, have been created so that someone can claim to be the fixer or the hero to come in and fix it. Pollution is created. Engines don't have to put out pollution. It's been proven that engines, gasoline, internal combustion engines, can be made to not put out pollution at all, but they create the pollution, they create the engine that makes sure it's not efficient, and then it creates a pollution, and then boom, they can create the EPA, for example, or something, for more domination and more control.
They can make money off it, they can use it to their advantage. Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, what happened to Nikola Tesla? That guy got a bum deal, okay? He went to J.P. Morgan for money to to push it forward. JP Money says, you can't make money on that. So he kiboshed it, and then they took all of his documents, all of his research, and burned it. So nobody can have it. And then you go further, fast forward, for the first electric car called the EV1. You couldn't buy one. You could use one for a while, and then you got to give it back. They wanted to see what kind of impact it would have on people, how people responded to it, because they didn't want you to have one yet. But now, the electric cars are coming out like crazy. The new types of new types of motivation are coming up. So Tesla cars are huge. They're absolutely huge. So they couldn't stop it. It was something that was going to happen, and the government just said, well, we can't stop this. It's going to happen. So now they're letting it happen. So a lot of those types of things, the pollution, all the chemicals that are made and used in our food, it is all basically created at a different level to keep us down, to keep us sick, to keep us from moving forward, from raising our vibration. And of course, you got to keep the doctors busy. Okay, if everybody is cured, what are you going to do with all those doctors?
Right, and they're a frontline pharmaceutical administrator too. That's pretty much their MO, job description, is to give more pharmaceuticals out. That's just how I see it, I guess. But
I go camping every weekend with my family. We got a wonderful campsite in Manitoba here, lots of big trees. We got a pool, great group of people. One of the guys I camp with, who's not far from my camper, he's a pharmaceutical rep.
Okay.
He doesn't know about the work that I do. I think he kind of has a bit of an idea, but he's not quite too sure about it. I mean, we're sitting there talking. We brought in a shipment of carfentanil the other day. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then my youngest sister, she works for a pharmaceutical company in San Diego. That's fantastic. I mean, she's really good at what she does. So it's really interesting to see the play against.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've got my work and my belief system, and then other people I deal with are on the other side. Okay, now let's talk about pharmaceuticals for a second. If it's going to keep you alive, take them until we can find the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. If you got diabetes, don't die. Take your insulin until we can find the problem, until you can figure it out. Okay, my sister is developing a medication for cerebral palsy. I forget what it is, but it's something huge. Okay, and she's in the front lines and helping develop it, doing the cultures, the bacterial cultures and everything. We got together one night. I went to visit her in San Diego. We got drunk and started talking about stuff. It got a little heated, So it's interesting to see the different sides of things. Doctors, they don't seem to have the answers. If they had the answer, they could fix it. They knew what was going on. But if you get in a traffic accident and you cut yourself open, you don't want me sewing you up. It's going to be ugly.
Right. Yeah.
So the medical system, we do need it. There is a lot of conspiracy around it with doctors just being sales reps for pharmaceutical companies. There is a lot of truth to that, but I do talk with certain doctors that I do research with, and they are starting to see the other side of things, where they're sending their patients love. They start off by saying, I send you love, and then they're looking for the real answer, reducing the nightshades out of their diet, which are plants that grow at night, and they create a toxin. It's an inflammatory. Different tribes in Africa that still hunt with arrows and spears, they put these toxins, these nightshade toxins, on the tips of their arrows to kill their prey. So there is a lot of toxicity within it. So they tell their patients to stop the nightshades. So they're going about things the right way. I have a client in Winnipeg with lymphoma, and her doctor says, we're not going to do chemotherapy. We're going to do some therapies to reduce the amount of estrogen in your body. So they're looking at things in a more proactive, alternative way instead of just throwing pills at you, throwing chemo. When anytime you go for chemo, the doctor's getting a big kickback. But I'm seeing it more and more. So we always disrespect the medical system, and for 90% of it, yes, but for a good part of it, there are doctors out there, people out there trying to do the right thing to help us. And if a pharmaceutical keeps you alive for a while, do it. Never tell anybody not to do chemo, because ultimately that's your decision and your family's decision. I'll never tell you not to. I'll never tell you not to take your medication. I'll never tell you not to go to a doctor, because that's just immoral. Okay, as a human, we need to do everything possible to make sure that we're not going to die before our time. We want to have a nice long life. We want to be comfortable. So if you take in consideration different things, the medical system, alternative one way, shape, or form, and find the right mix and right fit with everything, then you've got a better chance of, kicking what you got.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, sometimes it's not what they know, it's what they don't know.
Well, that's the big thing. And the concept of all this spiritual stuff does not fall within their realm. So
Right.
we have a mental health facility in Manitoba, in a city called Selkirk. And there's a lot of people in there with paranoid schizophrenia, all different types of illnesses like that. And they allowed some spiritual healers in to work with these people. All of a sudden, there's nobody left in the building. Okay, I mean, they're like, okay, I guess we just worked ourselves out of a job.
Yeah.
So they stopped doing it. And
interesting. So
now, having said that, if you look at Australia and Germany, there are certain hospitals, I think also Japan, certain hospitals set up that one floor is homeopathy, another floor is the medical system, another floor is spiritual healing. So they incorporate it. And there are hospitals that are doing that. There are facilities that are doing that. So,
nice.
We really have to look beyond our own doubt system of the medical system and say, okay, there are good things that are happening, and you have to accept it.
Yeah.
We're from both Zach and I are from Colorado. So we're what? We're one of the first states that legalized medical and recreational, and we have our views on the excessive use.
Oh, yes.
And we're just kind of wondering, where do you stand? I mean, we know that, you use, if you're a bad user, you're going to just open yourself up to all kinds of attachments.
Oh, it's just like too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing. Everything in moderation. I mean, they're okay. So even with herbs and supplements, if this one pill is going to do me good, a whole bottle at once should do me good too. There's a thing called alkalosis, where your body's too alkaline. If you're taking too much of a supplement, you can become too alkaline. So find balance in everything. So as far as marijuana goes, I have a little bit once in a while. It's fantastic. Put on some Pink Floyd and listen to some music. It's really good. Just a little bit here and there, not where some people will smoke a bag a day. That's just ridiculous. CBD oil is I have a client in Winnipeg who's using it with his mother who is having seizures. So he gives supplements of CBD oil, and her seizures are basically gone. We're doing energy work on to completely get rid of it all. But the seizures, it really helps a lot. So again, moderation. What was the joke? My doctor told me to drink in moderation, so I called my boat moderation. But all this stuff is here for a reason. If you look at hemp, the plants that don't create THC are people make paper out of them. I've even seen car parts made from the stem.
Yeah.
And all of that.
Plastics, right? It's really fantastic plant.
Yeah. So hemp itself, hemp rope, hemp clothing, has a lot of use. Okay, but because of the bad rap, I guess, because they get you high when you smoke it, well, nobody wants to touch it. If I wear those shoes, they're going to get me high. Well, some people wish, maybe, I don't know. But ultimately, everything that's on this planet, for the most part, is here in one way, shape, or form as a form of a medication, okay, a plant medication. So the medical marijuana itself has a lot of validity as long as it's done right and so forth. If it's done hydroponically, you really got to watch the chemicals that are being used with it. So everything's got its place. But as far as marijuana, you know what? Of course you can overdo it, and that opens up your aura. If it's overdone, if you put yourself into a state of let's call it low consciousness, of being really stoned and out there, that cracks open your aura. Things can get in and then cause problems.
Right. Become vulnerable.
Well, and that's like hemp oil. There's so much going around now about xenoestrogens and how it's affecting the masculine population. And, they say that you have to watch hemp seed oil because it's a xenoestrogen. So,
well, if you look at a lot of things happening within guys, prostate issues, all of a sudden your sexual drive is really low. All of a sudden your mood is really off. You're just a flat mood all the time. These are the hormones in your body that aren't supposed to be at a high level, and you're a masculine person, and your body doesn't know what these hormones are. Everything in our body is hormone driven. Everything. You want to control a hormone, or a human control their hormones. So yeah, the soy is xenoestrogen. Okay, the hemp oil is xenoestrogen. So there's lots of these different types of estrogen mimicking. It's more of a mimic than an actual estrogen. So your body's going to react such. So yeah, you really have to be aware of what you're taking, what you're using. Research it. There's lots of information on the internet. There's lots of garbage on the internet, but if you know how to use it, there's lots of good information. Go to somebody like me who can test to see if this is good for you. Is this going to create a problem in your body if you use it too much? How much do you need to use, etc. A lot of people do muscle testing. They'll hold the product to their chest, stand up straight, and if they fall back, well, their body doesn't want it. If they fall forward, your body wants it. That type of thing. So everything, again, has its validity, but it's all to do with how much.
Is the CBD a xenoestrogen?
Not to my knowledge. It tests very high for anybody who needs it. If you don't need it, it doesn't test high. But if you do need it for a medical purpose, it always tests very high for people.
I see.
Well, I think.
Go ahead, Denise.
No, I was just it's probably a good time now to maybe bring this to a close.
Yeah, I don't know how much time you got.
Do you want to say your one thing before we? What did you?
Oh yeah, well I was just saying, right, those opportunities, they can show up, and sometimes they're kind of hidden. They're kind of uncomfortable. They're like, oh gosh, I'm really going to have to do something different, or and so there can be kind of an uncomfortableness. It's like trusting that, and following that, like you said, with how this worked out with you developing this modality. And so I just want to throw that out, because my intention with this is so the people that see this can find their prosperity, their abundance, their joy, their harmony, being here on Earth too, in the body, being here, and can heal that. We can bring so much more positive energy. We all can emote so much more positive energy by healing the financial woes of people. Like I said, it keeps you in that, you're on that squirrel cage wheel, when you don't have enough. And it's that constant generating of that energy, that whoosh. Well, let's get a whoosh. I want a whoosh.
Let's get a whoosh. I love it.
L.
Whoosh. There it goes.
Okay.
Well, that was great, Chris. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Always a good time with you guys.
Yeah. Well, and I think for those who are listening, I think you agreed to come back and do a couple of healings on camera, so that should be really. We just witnessed what you did with the dollar bill, so. But why don't you just say just give the listeners where they can find you, and maybe a little bit about, you have a school too, where if anybody's interested in what you were talking about today, they can also learn it.
Yeah, again, the modality I've developed is called True Quantum Healing. I've got about 45 students worldwide, a couple in India, New Zealand, Croatia, Australia, lots in the States, Ireland, lots in the UK. UK is very big into this. And basically, it's going to cost you $2,000, not a lot of money compared to what other courses cost out there. And you're going to get everything that I use in order to do a healing session. Now, you also get my knowledge. If you have a problem, hey, Chris, how do I get past this? Shoot me a line, I'm here for you. You're also part of the community. So all 45 people who right now who are doing this modality, they all talk to each other. Everybody gets everybody's email address. There's a group box website that you can post things, ask questions, get answers, and various things like that. Everybody has different ideas, and everybody takes this modality and they use it to their knowledge and their knowledge base. So if somebody believes highly in the angels, they may work with angels within it. They may work in different ways. So you can get different perspectives on what's going on, see what other people are doing with it, so you can develop your own way. And that's the big thing, is that you can take this modality and develop your own way of using it so that it'll work for you, because everybody's different. That's why everybody has a different opinion about all these different things, is that everybody's different. So that in itself is a very big thing. I've got 4 people who have developed their own businesses already using it, and they're making money. They're doing good things for humanity, and they're making an income to sustain themselves. My website is chriskehler.net, not .com. That's a funny looking website. You don't want to stay away from that one. But chriskehler.net, I have a web store with all of my energy tools that I carry. I am a distributor for Crystalline Incorporated out of Alberta. So I carry all the energy tools. The course is on there. If you want to practice dowsing, I even got free charts that you can download. There's 5 different charts, a letter chart, number chart, some blank charts. You can practice dowsing, and there's a video along with it that you can watch to explain how to douse properly, how to use the charts. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. What is a dowse? What would you use for that? Is that a certain kind of metal or a
dowsing with a pendulum. A pendulum can be almost anything. This one I have. This is organite. Okay. One of my students is actually who has his own business, makes his own organite, and he developed these pendulums. Any crystal pendulum will do. You can almost take dog poop, put it on a chain, that'll work. As long as you're connected properly to your higher self and your soul, it'll work for you. So it's just a matter of learning how to use it, learning the do's and don'ts and that type of thing, and learning how the system works, and then pretty much anybody can do it.
Would the dog need to eat organic?
Preferably.
Okay.
I just had Cheech and Chong flash through my mind.
I've been trying to get Tommy Chong on my radio show. That guy would be a blast.
Yeah, you'd try be down with all this too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very much in tune to all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Right on. Well, Chris Kehler, thank you so much. It's just great, and we look forward to talking to you again.
We'll see you again very soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody.